Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Nintendo News Report. I'm your host, Alexander Kalafi, and joining me today for a very special episode of Nintendo News Report, where we have almost no news to talk about, but still a pretty fun show regardless.
I mean, we got some things to talk about.
We
Like Duck Hunt.
surprisingly have a little bit of news to talk about. But the two people joining me to talk about that news and much more, Site Director Neal Ronahan.
Hi, everybody. Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you too, Neal. And Connectivity Podcast Editor, Scott Thompson.
Hello! That's all.
Excellent. So, the way this show normally works, and you can watch our previous two episodes if you want, we normally do a top story, we normally do new releases, and we normally do the rest of the week's news. This week, because it's Christmas, and today, because it's Christmas, I'm just going to ask people about how their Christmas went. And nice tie, Neal, by the way.
Thank you. It's a Christmas gift.
We can tell. And then in the middle of the show, you know what? Nintendo put out a shocking amount, I might say. And at the end of the show, we're going to talk about some of our favorite Nintendo Christmas memories. And that's our show. So, you know what? Let's just start out plain. Let's start out classic. Scott, how was your Christmas today?
It was good. I guess I'm in the position where I'm the only one of us who has kids. So at this point, it's less about me getting stuff and more about just the excitement of my daughter opening things. So she got a bunch of stuff today. Was super excited. She's 2.5 now, so this is probably the first Christmas where she's really been able to open presents and be excited about the things that are inside those presents, not just oh, I'm gonna play with the wrapping paper for the next hour. I guess just put whatever you bought me in my room because I don't care about it right now. So it was fun. It was good. Spent a lot of time with family and did a lot of stuff. So good times for sure.
Did you play any video games today?
Today? No. That is the plan tonight after we are done with this and the kids are sleeping. And yeah, that's the adult way of playing video games at night when the kids are sleeping. So that's the plan.
I mean, I don't have any kids, but that's my plan. I'm married, so that means I've got 2 families to attend to, which means that I drive all over the state of New Jersey on Christmas Day to see everybody. I did get to witness actually one of my well, I guess he's my only nephew, but I have a bunch of nieces. I got my nephew a Donkey Kong figure, the Jack specific one, if you were into that sort of thing, the bigger one. And he's going to be 3 in March, so I think he's very close to. I mean, keep him away from Tegan, I guess.
Well, yeah, Tegan turns 3 in May, so I already don't like any of what you're telling me.
I thought No, maybe I'm getting it mixed up with the fact that this kid was born in March.
No, wait. Wait. Did I say May? No. Sorry. March, not May.
Okay. I know your kid's birthday better than you do.
I don't know if that's I don't know who that's. If I should be more ashamed of myself or worried about you. But anyway, go ahead.
But yeah. So they're almost exactly the same age. But he didn't really understand who Donkey Kong was. But then I was it's a toy, you can move him, and he's take him out of the box. And it's one of those dumb ones where you have to get all this plastic stuff off. So he's trying to pull him out of the box, and I'm trying to be no man, I need to unwrap this. I'm gonna go get some scissors, just cut it open. I can't take it anymore. So that was part of my Christmas.
Nice.
I did get this baller tie for my cousin, who's actually the same cousin that I can blame everything video game related in my life on, because he's the one who had the NES. That many a holiday season when I was little, I would excitedly go to his house and play the hell out of Super Mario Brothers and Silent Service and Anticipation and other classics for the original Nintendo. And then he eventually gave me that original Nintendo when I was I don't know, 6 years old or something like that. And then that just led me to basically living at a Funko Land for about 4 years, buying 100 Nintendo games. So it's his fault. But I got some cool board games. I got Carcassonne. I got Settlers of Catan, or I guess rather both me and my wife did. And I also got the Marvel Comics, the legendary deck building game, which I played an Aliens version of that, which was a lot of fun. So I'm excited to play the Marvel one.
Nice. I forgot to mention, I went to my uncle's house for Christmas today, and he got his daughters. They're young. They're only well, it was his daughter, and then his daughter's like friend, I think, or maybe like a long lost cousin on somewhere along the line. I don't know. But they're like probably like 9 or 10, and he got them a Wii U and Smash Brothers and Mario Kart. So I helped them hook that up, and then they played Smash Brothers. And I was amazed that I get all the actual Nintendo characters they knew. Like it wasn't just like I thought like, oh, okay, it'll be like Princess Peach versus like Mario for the most part, but they were like going deep. Like they knew Charizard and Meta Knight and like all kinds of crazy stuff. I don't know how.
That's awesome.
I don't know how, but yeah, they were like pretty hardcore into it, so that was a lot of fun. So
yeah, keep it on the kid bandwagon. I mean like I have a lot of like I guess in-law nieces and stuff, but my brother's kid, she's been really into Sonic the Hedgehog, and she's the one, for people who follow me on Twitter, she's the person who I showed her a Sonic Boom video on NWR-TV that you too can watch as well. But I showed her a video of Sonic Boom, and she's like, "This is boring," and then just like turned off the like I was holding her tablet, like I was like, "Oh, let me show you this video of Sonic. You like Sonic?" And she's like, "This is boring." Grabbed the tablet out of my hands and turned off the video, and then walked away.
nice.
Like, can't even watch it, Uncle Neal. But my brother got her like one of those kind of crappy Sega Genesis things that are in like stores and stuff.
Oh yeah, where it's got like 30 games built in and stuff.
But you can put cartridges in it. And I was reading up on it. Apparently it's pretty janky and like some games don't work. But regardless, when I was over at my parents and I grabbed all my old Sega Genesis cartridges and put them in my car, so that way when I see my niece this weekend, we're gonna like play some Dynamite Heady or something. I don't know.
Game's so good.
Yeah, I'm very excited to just be like, kid, we're gonna spend days playing all my Genesis games. Tommy, let's sort of baseball. Let's go.
One is Carcassonne again.
Carcassonne is the one where like you have the tiles and then you like flip them and put them down in places, and then like try to get points. I only played it once, but my wife and I really liked it, and we want to play it more.
It is a well-known mobile app too.
Yeah, no, there was a very good Xbox Live Arcade version as well.
All right, excellent. Christmas, I'm definitely in that period right now that's like past the point of getting like video games and stuff for Christmas, but before the point of getting almost nothing for Christmas. So this year was a lot of practical gifts, which is fine because I've learned to appreciate those gifts now. A lot of clothes I really needed. A lot of gift cards to stuff I really needed as a growing boy. But video games-wise, I played a hell of a lot of Smash Bros. And something I discovered is that my main in Super Smash Bros. For Wii U is in fact Charizard, someone who I did not expect to main, because I didn't actually play as a Pokemon trainer that much. But Charizard, I mean, he's one of those bulkier characters where he's got a huge hitbox, and that definitely puts him at a disadvantage, but he's really fast. And he does a great job of having super strong smashes while having B moves that zone the other characters and like push them away. So I
was surprised at how effective his, I guess the side B one where he just kind of darts across the stage. I played as Charizard in my my quest for always using random. I played as Charizard and was like kind of pissed, and then I just destroyed everyone. And it felt really good.
It's but that side B is a super dangerous move because I think it adds like 10 or 15% damage every time you use it.
Oh, okay, good to know. I mean, it worked. I won that round, so cool.
Oh, it damages you when you use it?
Yes, it the side B move that were like I think it's Flare Blitz, and I should know, but I'm pretty sure it's Flare Blitz where he shoots to the side.
I mean,
that
you are a Pokemon guy.
I am, but I don't know all of the TMs, or the technical machines, as we in the biz like to call it. It's the side B is in fact.
What biz is that?
I also like that in the biz you use the longer, like more formal name rather than the easy moniker.
You would think all the kids. I mean, we don't like. It's not like marijuana. It's weed. Like, come on.
That's good.
So it's the side B move where it shoots into someone else. That adds like 10 or 15% damage. And I learned that especially in event mode when I was using Charizard for like the final 2 challenges, where like you had to beat spoiler alert. Actually, you know what? I won't even say that because this is live and you can't really skip ahead. But
turn off this right now. You don't want Smash spoilers.
I won't actually spoil anything, but when you're setting that small gauntlet, you only have one life as your fighter of choice, it's very hard to have moves that damage your character after, because that shit racks up. Especially when you get to the end and you already have like 150% on you. But anyways, that was one thing I did, and then the other thing I did was I chatted with one of my relatives for about like a half hour about the Magnavox Odyssey, which he apparently owns one. So that was okay. It's just
when I got
huh?
When I got the Donkey Kong, that led to my sister-in-law talking about how she had an Atari, and then I wound up talking with a family friend of my wife's family, and wound up talking to him about Super Nintendo for like 40 minutes. He likes Donkey Kong and Link to the Past a lot.
So here's a question. So I'm guessing this cousin, you want to impress a little bit of the video game stuff onto him, but he's probably not the most knowledgeable. Video game fans, obviously, because he's young. Why Donkey Kong specifically?
Well, he's my nephew, first off.
Right.
And their parents are kind of neurotic, so I was looking. I wanted to get him a video game thing, and or like a cool toy, just in general. Like it was like Star Wars, Turtles, whatever. And he's under 3. And their parents are kind of neurotic, so I didn't want to get anything with a choking hazard. And I actually had the Mario or the Yoshi, like the smaller figures that I was going to get, because those are better characters than Donkey Kong, in my opinion. But they all had like small objects and have the choking hazard, and I was like, his mom's just gonna fucking take it away. So I'm gonna give him the Donkey Kong because he's just a big dumb ape with a tie. And we'll see.
True.
I know he's also got some cool Iron Man toys as well, and a bunch of Marvel things. I got him a Matchbox car too.
I might also argue that if we're choosing anyone of the main Mario crew, I would argue that Donkey Kong might be the coolest, including Bowser.
I mean, Donkey Kong does have the tie. The tie is pretty good.
So I would suppose. All right, let's move on. This has been a pretty good Christmas talk. I've got a little bit of insight into how the day went for you gentlemen.
Well, I mean, what my day might go after this is maybe playing some Super Mario Brothers Deluxe. I don't think I'll play Duck Hunt tonight, but I do kind of want to play Mario Party Advance because I'm an idiot.
Excellent segue, and half of the segment. It's a Nintendo download. Here's the stuff that came out on Nintendo's eShop this week. Way more than I expected. Unfortunately, not among these games is Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire, but I'm guessing we'll get that. That's next week?
No, I mean, that's 100% confirmed for next week.
Okay,
it's all on Nintendo.com.
That's good. All right. So, Shantae and the Pirate's Curse came out for Wii U this week. That is probably a good version of that game. Which is supposedly a very good game.
Some dude here, I think he reviewed it for like a website that wasn't Nintendo World Report.
Yeah.
I reviewed the 3DS version for a little website called IGN. I gave it an 5. That is a fantastic game.
It is a very good game.
Yeah, like really channels that Metroidvania spirit, and it's just so like bizarrely off the wall with its sense of humor and its writing that like it's hard not to just kind of smile and laugh the majority of the time you're playing it. So.
And one of the complaints that I had with the other Shantae games is that they were very like, I guess maybe abstract is the right word, but like you wouldn't really know where to go next. Whereas this one does a very good job of guiding you while still giving you the freedom to like go back and explore and find stuff. Like it's way easier to move around in that world than it was in the original or Risky's Revenge.
Right, and it's nice too because I think there's like 6 like areas, but they're all separate islands, so you're never like really like having to travel like completely through one to reach another. You kind of just go back to the world map and then like jump to the island you need to explore. And it has just a good sense of progression. And like you said, it's not really. You're never really going to get lost, but you still have to kind of like solve some puzzles and like make mental notes of like, okay, I need to come back here when I have the ability that I clearly is going to let me do something here. So, yeah, it's very good. I don't know what's that?
I like the part where you get Risky's boots.
Yeah, Risky. Yeah, exactly.
Risky boots.
yeah. There's like it has a lot of like self-referential humor. So if you play the other games, that definitely helps. But even if you haven't, I think it's easy to jump in. I don't know that the Wii U version really adds much. It's probably a little prettier than the 3DS version, but I think other than that, it's mostly the same. So I guess just go with whatever platform you're most comfortable with. But very very good game. So.
That's on the Wii U. Duck Hunt is It's finally here. It has a reticle on the screen. You can use Wii remotes. You have to use Wii remotes, in fact.
Yeah.
You
You
can
can turn off
do
the reticule,
two-player
by the way.
multiplayer.
People
You
are
can.
like crying bloody murder over the fact that there's a reticule. But I think it's just
But
like
you
you
can
like
turn it off.
press down on the D-pad or something, and then it takes the reticule away.
For me, it's not really much of a difficulty thing, why I would keep it on. It's more that I don't trust the accuracy of the Wii Remote 100%.
Yeah.
And which is kind of ironic, considering the previous technology was the NES Zapper.
Yeah.
Dude, the NES Zapper is legit. Like, that's a wonderful accessory.
Was it actually totally accurate, 100%?
I mean, I never had any complaints. I played a lot of Duck Hunt as a kid, and some Hogan's Alley. I even played The Adventures of Bayou Billy, because there was like an alternate mode where there'd be like a side thing. You'd put the Zapper in the 2-player slot, I think, and then like every now and then it'd just be like, I don't know, shoot some things. It was a pretty crappy game otherwise.
So I was originally going to buy this game, but as we said on last week, game to come out, I'm a little less eager to buy it than I was before, though I still might. One thing that I kind of think is cool is that I'm looking at the screenshot that's included in the press release now, and it's showing the Duck Hunt dog in the stage in that NES screen. It's not 16 by 9. What's the smaller display?
4x3.
4x3. It's all right. So 4x3. It looks exactly like the Super Smash Bros. Stage, which I guess was inspired by the real game.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like that's why the Super Smash Bros. Stage is so cool, because it's just the game.
It is so cool.
I love that, Alex. I love that you're like, and I'm assuming, I guess, that it was inspired by the actual game. That kind of reminds me. I had a friend growing up. She had never seen the original Star Wars movies, and she decided at one point that she was going to start from Episode 1 and just watch through to Episode 6. She thought like that was the like the way to watch them, chronologically. And so she did it, and then she gets to Episode 5, and she's like, "That's clearly Yoda. Why is he acting all insane right now?" So like, you get that moment where you're like Yoda. You think when Luke first gets there, you think, oh, Yoda's like, that's not Yoda, that's not the Jedi Master, that's just this weird Muppet who's just being a dick and won't take Luke to like the actual Yoda. But she already knew who Yoda was, knew that he was a badass, so she's just kind of like, I don't get it. Why is he being a weirdo? I don't know. Just kind of reminded me of that when you get things out of order.
I recommend if anyone wants to see the reason why Yoda's depiction is so horrible in the prequels, I recommend Red Letter Media's Star Wars reviews, the Mr. Plinkett ones. They're like 90 minutes each, but they're hilarious and they're amazing, and they go into a lot of detail on why the prequels are so bad. Specifically, the fact that Yoda in the prequels is a complete insult to his original intentions in the original movie, but that's beside the point. Other games that came out this week. Mario Party Advance on the Wii U Virtual Console. Huh?
I don't think the prequels are that offensive. Episode 1's a shitty movie, but other than that, like, I don't know.
Episode 2 is one of the worst things, man.
I mean, there's like some cool parts in 2. It's just anytime the political stuff shows up.
Anakin Skywalker's romance is potentially one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen.
Still like that fight in the arena and like the stuff at the end. I'm not saying 2 is great, but like one's a bad movie outside of Duel of the Fates, and I guess the pod race was pretty cool.
Here's what I'll say. I think the original trilogy is great story-wise, and I think the ship combat is really fantastic, but I think a lot of the like hand-to-hand combat leaves a lot to be desired.
Oh, yeah.
The prequels are terrible story-wise for the most part, but have amazing fight scenes. And like this what gives me hope for the upcoming trilogy is that we'll get like at least a enjoyable story, if nothing else, and then like just awesome modern combat with like modern, And
I mean, Episode 3, I would think that's like, I mean, it's definitely not amazing. It's still like it's still got a pretty bad story, but like Episode 3 still works. Like I still enjoy that.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I won't deny like getting mad goosebumps watching like all of Episode 3.
Yeah.
I feel like it's actually
the whole thing with that, and this is, I guess, the kind of unfortunate thing, Alex, is that like, I mean, you and people younger than you will never experience this, but like, as a kid growing up, like you knew how. Like, okay, Anakin was a dude, something real bad happened to him, and then he became Darth Vader, and you knew Obi-Wan was involved, and that was it. So then it's just like seeing that come to life, and at least for me, like, they did it justice. They did, like, what I had heard, because I heard it was like, oh, it's on a lava planet, too? That's where all this went down? All right, and, like, Episode 3 delivered on that, so still had flaws, but it It didn't soil my childhood like a lot of people seem to claim the prequels did.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it's my perspective is different because I didn't care about the prequels until I watched all 6 movies in a chunk this year.
Yeah.
It's 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. So I had that perspective of, wow, these are 2 wildly differently made trilogies.
You should have watched it like the Chainsaw way, because it's like 4, 5, 2, 3, 6. I think that's the way that it was like it proposed like this is the proper viewing order, and I think it actually kind of works.
On any movie series that I'm catching up on is do it in release order, and you'll never be doing it completely wrong.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm probably gonna get Duck Hunt. I mean, I really enjoy that game, and it is the kind of thing that like when I got some buddies over, it'll be like, hey guys, we can play Duck Hunt right now. And we'll probably do it because Duck Hunt's fun. It's not like, I mean, if you're looking for a deep experience, like you ain't getting it in Duck Hunt. Sorry.
I have a quick update. Our fellow staff member and just all around great person, Don Koopman, tweeted me to let me know that he's played Shantae now on the Wii U, and it actually doesn't look very sharp compared to the 3DS version. So he says he prefers the 3DS version. So I guess the Wii U version isn't like a crazy up-res, high-def version of Shantae. So
that's a bummer.
There you go.
Excellent. Next up, Mario Party Advance on the Wii U Virtual Console, the Game Boy Advance game. I did not play this, and I barely remember the fact that there was a Mario Party Advance. I only remember the trading card game, which we talked about before.
Oh, dude, the e-reader game is so fucking good.
It's very, very good. Have any of you guys played the Advance game, or at the very least are planning on getting this one?
You know, I can't really like remember it specifically, but I had to have because I've played like every Mario Party game.
We don't even have a review of it on the website.
We do or don't?
We don't.
Oh wow, that's
remedy
weird.
that.
But no, I don't. I can't remember it. I remember like Mario Party DS more, but I'm sure I played the advanced version. Like I was all about Mario Party. So
I think, and I'm probably wildly wrong with this, because I know that DS really played up the multiplayer part. Like there were a lot of like I remember playing that. I think at a PAX East or something, the DS one, because it just had a lot of fun like 8-player games that you could do with download play.
Yeah.
But I think Mario Party Advance tried to like make this really strong single-player Mario Party game, because like I think there was multiplayer stuff. You could use link cables and all that jazz. It might have even been something that used a wireless thing that came out with Fire Red and Leaf Green. But I think that Mario Party Advance, I think there's like something like there's quests in it that you can go on that kind of try to make more of a single-player game out of Mario Party Advance. And I have a feeling that I'm probably going to pick this up, like I said earlier, because I'm dumb. I'm just really I've always been kind of curious about the portable Mario Party games, because I had fun the one time I played DS, and then was like, man, maybe I'll get that game, and it was always still pretty expensive. Yeah. And then I got Mario Party 3DS, and like that's just kind of a bad game.
Oof.
So, Is it really that oof?
I mean, it's the same rule of like, if you play a game in multiplayer with people that you like, it's probably not going to be that bad. Like it was, like I played it locally a couple times and I had a good time, but it's not a great game.
Yeah, the local stuff's good. The minigame selection to me just isn't as strong as other Mario Party games, and
there were a lot of really dumb minigames in the 3DS.
Yeah, and there's a handful of like gyroscope-based minigames, which to me are like always a cardinal sin. And the single player is really, really bad. But no, the multiplayer, I mean, you know, it's fair, it's fine.
The Street Pass was cool.
Yeah, and there's one cool mode that I like, where you're actually playing like on a Bowser stage, and the point, like Bowser's at the end, so the point is actually to like roll as low of a number as possible versus like as high a number. So it's kind of cool. You're like trying to like just go as slow as possible as you can around the board because you don't want to reach Bowser at the end. So that was kind of a nice little change up, but. Yeah. All
right. So next up, we got Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2, which means that there is now 2 versions of Super Mario World on the Wii U eShop. I am guessing that the GBA one. Well, I know for a fact the GBA one is better because it has Mario Bros. Attached in. It has some other side stuff, I think, and I think it looks slightly sharper. I think they might have pulled the Super Mario Bros. But I'm not 100% sure.
From almost 13 years to the day.
Okay.
Michael T.Y.P. Cole. gave Super Mario Advance 2 a 7.5 out of 10. His pros and cons. He said that there's an all-new Luigi with different attributes. That's pretty cool. Classic gameplay, mostly unhindered by the smaller screen, and new/rearranged Yoshi coins in some levels. The cons were minor scrolling and sound issues, a rehashed Mario Brothers minigame. Super Mario World is now somewhat easier and way too little for veterans to do.
Okay.
Yeah. But from what I was reading about the differences between this and Super Mario World, and unlike, like, I was reading, because I actually played Super Mario Advance when it came out on Wii U Virtual Console, because I never played that when it first came out. And that game's got some pretty significant differences, and I think that, like, in some ways, Super Mario Advance is the best version of Super Mario Bros. 2. Whereas I feel like with Super Mario Advance 2, there's just nothing different about it outside of, like, I don't know, we made them talk more.
They talk all the time, and Luigi jumps differently.
Opening cutscene. And, like, there's, like, it, like a lot of the Super Mario Advance games, it does, like, a better job of just, like, tracking what you've done in the game. Like, it clearly displays how many exits you've gotten, you know, how many of the Dragon Coins you've gotten in levels and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, that's the big thing, too. It makes the Dragon Coins more like collectibles versus just like, oh, if I see it, I'll grab it, and, like, oh, if I happen to find the 5, I'll get an extra life. This makes it like you kind of want to get all of them, yeah. And then, and Luigi has his flutter jump, so his jump is different than Mario's, but
it's kind of like the beginning of the collect 3 coins in a stage stuff that we saw in Super Mario Brothers.
Exactly, yeah.
And then the final game, and perhaps the most interesting one to me this week, Super Mario Bros. Deluxe for the Virtual Console on 3DS, the original Game Boy Color game that pretty much took the original Super Bros. And gave it like a semi-modern structure where it was saving like every 4 levels, I think. And it made it like, it felt like a game with like a progression that you could beat like a semi-modern console game rather than Mario where you expected to beat it in one setting as it was originally, in one sitting as it originally came out.
Yeah, and we actually have a review mini on this from back in February when it came out in Japan. Don Koopman wrote it. He gave it an 8 out of 10. He said it's still an enjoyable journey from beginning to end. And this one actually has a lot of significant differences. Well, at least, I guess, significant additions, because I think that the main game is virtually unchanged. But then as you play that, I think you have access to different modes. Like there's the ones where you can go through each stage and there's like a hidden red coin and a hidden Yoshi egg. There's like some weird stuff where like you can do races against Boo. And there's also like there's a version of Super Mario Brothers, the Lost Levels that you can unlock, and I think there's another mode as well. But it seems like I'm definitely gonna pick this up. I borrowed this from a friend when I was younger, but I don't really remember too much about it. I don't think I got too far into it.
If I remember correctly, back on Game Boy Color, it even had Game Boy printer compatibility, and you could like print out little things that you found in the game. I might be making that up, but I'm almost positive that is true.
Yeah, because I think there's a whole like.
There's like a
history, like maybe even like a Smash Brothers-esque trophy thing.
Exactly,
in it,
yeah, where you get like little like screenshots or like images, yeah, and I'm pretty sure you could print those out on the Game Boy printer. Obviously, you can't do that now, but there you go.
Excellent. And then there are also some sales on the eShop this week. There's a Lego sale up to 50% off Lego games. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Legend of Korra, and a bunch of games from Activision are on sale.
Yeah, it's actually the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game is the Metroidvania from Way Forward. That I've heard it's not great, but I need to check out that sale because if it's like under $20, I might pick it up because I really love the new Turtle show, and I'll play a mediocre Metroidvania with the Turtles. I'm cool with that.
Pokitory 2 Plus, Swords and Soldiers, and more games from Two Tribes are on sale until January 8th.
And Swords and Soldiers is a fantastic game, and I think it was already like $2 on the Wii U eShop. So if that shit's $1 and you haven't played that game, just go pick it up. There's a sequel coming out on the Wii U eShop, I think, early 2015, might be spring, I don't know. They seem like they were far off back. I think we talked to them around E3 maybe. But I mean that game's it's an interesting like side-scrolling RTS. Like it might not be for everyone, but if it's $1, like just go get it.
So though there's the Two Tribes sale, there's Stick It to the Man, Pure Chess, and more games from Ripstone on sale. Attack of the Friday Monsters, Tokyo Tale, Weapon Shop Diomase, and more games from Level 5 are on sale. And an unlisted sale that really should have been listed is that Rest sale. Some games, and they're doing a sale.
I can't hear you, Alex.
On the eShop. Not at all. Can you hear me at all? Now?
You're back.
It's just that every time you talk about what this unlisted sale is, you cut out. So I'm like, what is it?
I have no idea what the sale is.
Renegade Kid.
Okay, yeah.
Renegade Kid has a sale.
I'm probably going to pick up Moon Chronicles. I haven't done that yet, and it looks like the other episodes are going to come out soon. So.
Well, and I don't know if you guys saw Johnny, he was tweeting today with Jules, and you have to have downloaded episode 1 of Moon Chronicles to have access to the other episodes. Not that I don't know why you want to do it.
It's going to be his DLC.
Yeah, but so you have to download episode 1. So it's on sale now, so now's the time to jump on.
And then what was the other sale that you mentioned?
It's
the level 5 one. A lot of those games are awesome. Crimson Shroud, if you want a really interesting RPG. It's like kind of like D&D, but it has this weird story. It's by the dude who did like Tactics Ogre, and what else did he do? Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy Tactics. It's a really interesting game, and it's kind of this nice bite-sized RPG. Although there's like one bullshit part where like you need to get a random drop that if you're stuck, just look up because it's probably that bullshit part where you need a random drop. And what are some of the other good guild? I mean, Attack of the Friday Monsters is really neat. Liberation Main's like this fun Star Fox-esque game that's probably worth a cheap price. Yeah, from Suda51.
Starship Damray is my personal favorite, though a lot of people aren't necessarily the fondest.
I might check that one out. I was on the fence about that. I think you were the person that almost sold me on it, but then there were a lot of people that were kind of naysaying it. Maybe later.
It's an adventure game where you're in this spaceship. It kind of reminds me of Alien in the sense where it's abandoned and you're not sure why it's abandoned at first. Well, in Alien they knew why it was abandoned, but it has that same kind of feel. And you're going through this spaceship slowly, trying to figure out where everyone disappeared to. Is everyone alive? Is everyone dead? What happened on this ship? And it's a very semi-classic adventure game in the sense that the game doesn't tell you a lot of what to do. You have to figure out a lot on your own. But it's not that hard to figure it out. You can beat it in about 2.5 hours. And it has a super, super cool final twist that I really, really loved.
Yeah, I might pick that up.
If it's cheap enough, I recommend it. I don't even know if it's on sale because it wasn't listed here.
I think they're like $2.99. I think every single one of the Guild games is on sale in this. Also, Inazuma 11 is as well, and I know you love that game.
I love Inazuma 11. That's a great sports RPG in my opinion.
I imported the original DS game expecting to be wowed, and then it turned out to be more RPG than sports.
That's true.
I love arcade soccer games, especially are my jam. And playing this game, it was an RPG. It wasn't necessarily a soccer game. Like it was there was a soccer theme, but
it's
an RPG.
I think you build up to the sports stuff a little. You have to fully. I'm not saying you didn't have a grasp or did have a grasp, but
I mean, I put like 15 hours into that damn game. I really
the game's
really
like 20.
To like it.
But either way, it's super flashy and it's kind of sports, but whatever. A lot of people love it. Some people like Neal dislike it. I recommend it. Whatever. Hopefully you enjoy it if you get it.
Yeah.
And that's Nintendo Download. Now for our final main segment, we are going to be talking about our favorite Nintendo Christmas memories. Neal has some that I'm sure he is super excited to share. That is why you should start.
Okay. So the scene is 2001. I'm 13, something like that. And I really wanted a Nintendo GameCube, as any self-respecting Nintendo kid at the time. And I did not know 100% if my parents had got one yet. Like, everyone has a Christmas where they know what their parents got them, and they're just like, I can't wait to play that N64 or something. For me, I did not know 100%. Alongside this, I tried to convince my parents to explain to them what a memory card was. They did not understand, so I used my own money to buy myself a memory card and wrapped it up and put it underneath the Christmas tree to Neal from Neal, because I was like, well, if I get one, I don't want to be screwed. So I opened up all my presents. I got 3 games. including I also got my memory card. I got Smash Brothers Melee, Batman Vengeance, and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Two of those three games are probably my top two favorite games on GameCube. Batman Vengeance is okay. I mean, it's like Batman the Animated Series in a video game, so how can that be that bad?
The cutscenes were awesome.
Yeah. No, oh god. Yeah, that was actually, strangely enough, that was probably the game that I played the most on Christmas night. Because I was just like, but it's Batman. Like, I want to see that. Like, I don't have anybody to play Smash Brothers with right now.
Right.
And like, I think I played Tony. I think my brother was like going out with friends on Christmas night, and we were gonna play Tony Hawk the next day or something. But I didn't have a GameCube, so I'm like, oh well, this sucks. Like, did I miss something? And then my parents played off, being like, well, we couldn't get you one. Like, we'll get you one soon. I'm like, okay, like this kind of blows. And then my dad's like, all right, we got one last gift, and like for each, my brother, my sister, and I, he like printed up like it was they even like, I think my parents even like burned the paper a little bit to make it look like a treasure map. But it was just like all these like weird directions that like took me downstairs to the basement where I had to like, it was like avoid like the rotting pit, and like that's where the kitty litter was. And like there was like a sump pump hole in my parents' basement that it was just like, don't fall in the hole, and then like turn here and then look up, and then like he had like stuck the GameCube box like in the rafters of their shitty old basement. And it was just like, it was that really, I mean, it's a very memorable thing. Like that's something that happened 13 years ago, and like I very much like, I probably, if I sat down to write out the directions that my dad gave me, or like if I went back to my parents' basement, I could be like, yeah, I went that way, then I turned there. I could probably tell you exactly where that damn GameCube was. It was just really memorable, which is what makes it like such a cool Christmas memory for me. And then the other one's not a cool one. I didn't know. I wasn't crazy into Zelda when Ocarina of Time came out in 1998. But then like I think it was like probably, it might have been like right after Thanksgiving, early December or something. I went to a Sears with my mom, and she, I don't know, did mom stuff and bought shit in Sears. And instead, I went to the video game section and then proceeded to play through the first hour and a half of Zelda Ocarina of Time.
Holy shit.
Because it was just like my mom was there for that damn long. That like I just sat down. I'm like, what's this game? And I'm like, okay, like I'm gonna go in this Deku Tree. Like went through like that entire fucking dungeon, went to Hyrule Castle Town. Like I was so stoked. And then like on the way home, I'm like, Mom, I want to get this game. I want to get this game real bad. And then Christmas Day came around. I'm like, I'm gonna get Ocarina of Time, and I didn't get it because my parents had already bought all the stuff for me by the time I decided I wanted this game.
Yeah.
And I cried like a little shithead for like Christmas Day because that was the one thing I wanted, and I didn't get it. And like we got it. I ended up getting it like in like some after Christmas sale or something. But like it was something like I felt really bad because I was a little bitch about it. I mean, I was like 10, so like I can't fault myself that much. But like a couple years ago, I mentioned it to my mom about like we were talking about Christmas when we were little, and I was just like, there was that one time where I cried about it. My parents do not remember this at all.
Oh
so
wow!
Like,
so I thought they were
like carrying this guilt for like a decade, and like I mentioned it to him, like, what are you talking about? Like you were fine. I'm like, okay, cool. It was all in my head.
Excellent. I will go next.
Those are my memorable Christmas stories.
And they sound memorable. It's especially the GameCube one.
The GameCube one, like, and actually I found out how my parents got the GameCube, which was like someone at my dad's work, like worked at Walmart during like the seasonal, worked there part time, and they had talked to her, like, because I guess the GameCube was like not super hard to find, but still a little bit of a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
They ended up like talking to her, and then she held one for them, and like my dad like went and picked it up after work. So that's how they got it. That's cool.
All right. So I only have like one story. There are really only two things memorable that ever happened related to video games, because most of my childhood gifts were me receiving gift cards and money that I would later irresponsibly spend on my own video games.
Oh, dude, like that GameCube year, I bought like 4 GameCube games with all the money that I got from relatives and stuff, and like had no money. I bought Pikmin and Wave Race.
So there were two, actually, one small one, one bigger one. The small one was 2006. I wanted the Wii more than anything else, and probably like many families in the world, there were a lot of situations of family trying to get a hold of a Wii, but being unsuccessful every single time. So I ended up later getting the money to buy a Wii, which I didn't end up spending on a Wii because I still wasn't able to get one for the following 12 months. And then I ended up buying a used one from a friend for like $180. So that's one notable one of, and then the other notable one, my first from Santa, being my bright green Game Boy Color in probably 1998, 1999. I would have been 4 or 5 years old, along with the first game I ever received, being a Magical Tetris Challenge with Mickey Mouse, which I have right here still. This is the first game I ever got as a gift, and this is the one relic from my childhood I still 100% have, and I keep it with like all my from forever ago. And like the game that probably started my love with Nintendo handhelds in general, not only because it was my first system, but because the Game Boy Color was fantastic to me. Not only because this was a really good Tetris game, but because it had Pokemon Silver, Gold, and Crystal, which to many people is the best generation of Pokemon. It had games like Mario Deluxe. It had a lot of really great Game Boy games that were backwards compatible, like the Mario Land games, and then there were the Wario Land games, and the original Game Boys were fantastic, and that's what probably started my love of just portable gaming in general, because that was my first proper experience on a system I owned. And then later, I also got my GBA for Christmas with Mario Advanced 1. But it's,
No. Are you done?
I am!
That actually reminded me, I got a Game Boy for Christmas when I was younger, and that was the first system that I had that was wholly my own. My brother had a Genesis, and we shared that. I think it was technically his Genesis, and then he left it there when he moved out, and I just took it. I got the brick Game Boy, and I got Donkey Kong 94 and Super Mario Land 2, which I still have those as well. Not right with me. I didn't know this was show and tell. I got those 2 games for Christmas and went through so many damn batteries playing the hell out of those games. And on a later Christmas, I got the Game Boy Camera, which ties into a really somber note because I just took a bunch of pictures of my cats, and that was also the first Christmas of my parents' cat, my childhood cat, but now that I moved out, it was kind of my parents' cat. My parents' cat Calvin, who actually passed away last month. So it's kind of weirdly circular that here, 15 years after that happened, where I got the Game Boy Camera and took pictures of that cat when he was a kitten. He's now passed away. But now I need to get some Game Boy printer paper so I can print out those pictures, because I had all of my cats at the time I have in lovely monochromatic goodness and playing Game and Watch ball with their head. I mean, not their head as the ball. I mean their head on the guy playing ball.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That is really cool. I wonder just how expensive it is, though, to get a hold of a Game Boy printer and paper, or if there's some alternative.
I don't know if the printer works.
Okay.
I actually heard. I forget who was. Oh no, it was somebody that I knew at New York Comic Con that I ran into was telling me that there were people from. I think they were freelancing for maybe CNN or something. I don't know. It was some outlet that I had heard of, but a news outlet. And they were actually going around and taking pictures. They had rigged Game Boy cameras up to connect to their smartphone, or something along those lines, and they were taking pictures around New York Comic Con with Game Boy cameras.
That's
and
awesome.
The crappy Game Boy camera stuff. But I think they were trying to do some kind of cool piece. I didn't look up to see if it ever got published or something, but that was pretty neat.
Also,
but I think the printer paper is still kind of hard. I think the printer paper can be found, but it's not that cheap.
Well, I was gonna say the printer paper. I'm pretty sure I've heard that the printer paper. There's actually people or a company or something reproducing the printer paper, so you don't have to buy actual Nintendo printer paper, because that would be super expensive as a collector's item. But there's a company out there producing faux Game Boy printer paper that works just fine. So yeah, I'll have to look that up.
I need to make sure my printer works too, because I know I still have it, but I haven't put batteries in that thing in 10 years.
Scott.
Okay, so
memories.
For me, the most obvious one, and I've told the story before, and I've written about it, so I don't want to talk about it. It's when I got my N64, and
Are you the N64 kid?
Yeah, basically. Short version, my grandma bought me the N64. I saw it ahead of time in her safe when she was opening to get money to take us out to eat. She saw that I saw it, told me it was for my cousin Jenny, and then devastated me all the way until Christmas Day when she was like, "No, I was just kidding. It's for you," and then gave it to me. So that's the short version of that story.
Oh,
I was so pissed for like 3 weeks, thinking my cousin, who didn't even play video games, was getting an N64, and I was like, "Grandma, you idiot! She
That
doesn't even want it."
bitch.
But the story I will go into, and I don't know why I wanted this game so much. I love StarCraft, and played it religiously on PC as a kid. And as we all know, or probably all of us know, there was an N64 version
Oh,
of
there
StarCraft
was.
called StarCraft 64, which is fairly bad, but it was sort of like famously delayed quite a bit. It never really had like a concrete release date and became probably one of like the last N64 games. I mean, it had
Yeah,
to
did
come out
that
in
come
like
out
the
in
last
2000 or
year.
2001?
Yeah, so it was really late. And that was back in the day where it's like you really couldn't get concrete release dates. So pretty much like every week I was calling GameStop to see if they got it in or if they knew like when it would be coming. And they kept just telling me like, well, we think it's next month or we think it's, here or there. So I told my mom constantly that that's the game I wanted. And I can't remember what Christmas this was. I mean, I guess probably 99, I'm thinking. So obviously it still had a ways to go before it was going to come out. But I kept telling her, and then finally Christmas came, and I didn't know if it was out or not. But in my stocking, she had printed out a sheet of paper, and on it she put like I owe you like one StarCraft 64 or something like that, and basically told me like it wasn't out yet, but when it came out, whenever it came out, she would buy it for me. So that was pretty sweet. And then I did eventually get it, and it was fairly bad. I remember you had to have the expansion pack to play
Yep.
Brood Wars, which was the StarCraft expansion, which is so weird. You could play the whole regular like campaign, but to play the expansion campaign, you had to have the expansion pack, which is kind of funny. Um, and then there was one bonus mission, and I can't remember if they made it canon or not, but it does actually have an extra mission that wasn't in the PC version of the game. And then there was also like a co-op campaign that you could play split screen with someone that wasn't in the PC game. So that was pretty
The
cool.
co-op
So,
stuff I remember was pretty neat.
yeah, it did
Like,
work
I
pretty
mean,
well.
it was one of those things where like it was impressive that they even got StarCraft to work on an N64, but it was still like,
Yes.
oh, this is pretty dumb.
Yeah, and I think they had
It's
to
like
like
when you would see stuff like on crappy old flip cell phones, and you'd be like, wow, they got that working, but I'm never gonna play it there.
right. It was more novelty than anything. Yeah, and like I said, I played the PC version religiously, so I don't know why I thought it would be cool to like take a step down, but I was just a kid and didn't know any better. Um, but yeah, and I think there were other like restrictions. Like I don't think you could have as many units produced as you could in the PC version, just because the N64 couldn't handle that much going on the screen at once. I think it was like halved. I think you could only build up to 100 units instead of 200, and blah blah blah. But that game was bad. But I thought that was really sweet of my mom to even go through that effort. If we have a second too, I do have a quick little Twitter stories from people I tweeted and asked them to
Oh,
share
sure.
their
go
Christmas
for
stories.
it.
I just going to read a couple. Our own Zach Miller said that he got the original Batman for NES for Christmas pretty much the year it came out from people he didn't even know, and it blew his mind.
That is a dope
Um,
ass game.
that is a good game. Rob Ford, not the Toronto disgraced mayor or former mayor, but great
Music
friend
Man.
of the show. He said his dad got him, instead of the arcade Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game for NES, his dad got him 720 Degrees, which I think was a really bad like skateboarding game for NES. And he says, "Oh wait, you said favorite memory, not most devastating." So I think that ruined his.
My parents got me Silver Surfer on the NES
Oof,
for one
that's
Christmas because
painful.
there was a movie store that I used to go to get games, and I think like they were clearing out all their old stock. And this was around the time that my cousin who had given me the NES, he gave me the NES. So this was probably like 94, 95, but they were clearing out all their old stock. And my parents got some good games, and they actually got like Tag and Dragon, which is one of those like horrible knockoff like unlicensed games that has like
Mhm.
a light like a fucking teal NES cartridge.
Oh,
Um,
glorious.
and that game wasn't that good. Um, but they got me Silver Surfer, which I was so excited because I'm like, oh, it's a Marvel comic game, and that is one of the hardest damn games ever. Like
Hmm.
at PAX East, they have tournaments of like, can you beat the first level? and like no one does it.
No.
But it's just this
Yeah,
punishingly hard shooter. But I kept on playing it, and I never got far. I think I beat the first level like once.
nice.
Probably using Game Genie.
Yeah, well, Game Genie, that Game Genie was magical. I loved Game Genie.
Yeah, that probably got me through many years of gaming.
Of bad games.
Yeah.
Um, Peter Fingler wrote and said that he won an SNES in a contest, but the letter he received mistakenly left out the word Super, and so he was furious, thinking they were sending him a Nintendo Entertainment System for like the weeks or months possibly until he actually received his Super Nintendo. So there you go. I guess maybe he won it in like a Christmas contest. I'm not sure how it ties to Christmas, but there you go. Wind Up Dog said he thinks it would be the year he got his Game Boy Advance SP and a copy of the original Pokemon Ruby. So that was a very good Christmas
Sounds
for
like a
him.
man
Hell yeah,
after
dude.
Alex's heart.
There you
Yeah,
go.
man's got taste, or at least his parents do.
You know what's I mean, speaking of parents' taste, like my parents got me Donkey Kong 94 and Super Mario Land 2 with my Game Boy. Like I have to commend my parents for the fact that they never bought me total crap.
Yeah, that is actually pretty good.
Outside of like Tag and Dragon, but they got that because it was like probably at the movie store. They're like, I don't know, man, like $1 per game.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like one time, like my parents like found like, and this would have been like midnight. So like when it's not go to the store, Castlevania is a new game. But my parents got me the original Castlevania on NES, like without like I didn't ask for it. They're just like, oh yeah, we got you this game. I'm like, what? Really? Like I wanted it. I didn't verbalize it, but cool.
And then the last one, Drew Covert said he was 12 and he got the original Game Boy with Tetris and Super Mario Land for Christmas in 1989. Said he was hyped to hell and back because of Nintendo Power, which that was probably Nintendo Power's greatest feat, was just making us all like freak out for games and systems and everything like that.
You know what game I freaked out about because of Nintendo Power? Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire.
Yeah.
That was when
I freaked out about that. Like, go ahead.
I didn't actually get it. I think that was around when I first got a Nintendo Power subscription because I played a lot of games when I was younger, but like I had a Genesis growing up, so I didn't really get into Nintendo in a big bad way. Like I didn't own my own Nintendo thing until the Game Boy, and I didn't own a home console until NES. So like while I had played a lot of like Mario and stuff at friends' houses, I didn't get into it until I got the NES and then the N64 like a year or two later. And then I got a subscription to Nintendo Power. They're like, Star Wars Shadows of the Empire is amazing! And then, and like they had the thing where like the backs like lined up and like were a stormtrooper or something. I forget.
Yeah.
That game.
For me, for Nintendo Power, it was when I had my Super Nintendo, and they sent me something in the mail explaining how to do the Ghost House trick in Super Mario World, where you unlock that secret area above it. It's like in the second world where you then you can just always power up and get Yoshi and basically any power up you want. I got that like a little card in the mail explaining that, and then it was like, if you want more like great secrets like this, get Nintendo Power. And then I convinced my mom, and then I probably had my subscription up until I was like a senior in high school. I think I canceled it right before the Wii came out. So, yeah. That was my shit. So, all right.
You're like, I don't want this kitty crap.
And that is our show for this week. Thank you to everyone who has watched, is watching, or will watch in the future, because it is our last show of the year. I would like to also tell you guys to check out the great Game of the Year content on NintendoWorldReport.com. We have a lot of articles about a lot of great games, and we even have a video, at least one video, about the great games here.
Yeah.
Okay, just one video with the quality of multiple videos put together.
Yeah, it's a 12-minute video that goes over our 10 favorite games of 2014, with talking from me, Brian Rose, who else? John Raridan, and Andrew Brown. I think those are the 4 people who read stuff for it. I get to pretend to be Zach. That was a personal highlight for me.
I think we could all benefit from a day of pretending to be Zach.
Yeah, like it was weird. Like I went over to my wife and was just like, boobs, dinosaurs.
I think we all should experience the freedom of living life as Zach, like at least for one day in our lives.
I love you, Zach. I hope you're watching.
Me too.
I miss you.
We all do.
Can't wait till PAX East.
Hell yeah, man.
I guess, on a final note, PAX East panel submissions were on Monday. We have another Who Wants to Be a Nintendo Heir submitted. Last year we didn't get it, but we did have it the prior 2 years. So who knows if we will be returning to Boston. I mean, I'll still be in Boston regardless, but if we have a panel. There's also another secret panel that will involve eShop developers. If that gets approved, you'll find out. Ooh. All right, cool.
And
Bye.
there you have it. Thank you to everyone who has watched. Like I said, if you have anything you really liked, had anything you really disliked, be sure to tell us because we want to make this show the best show it can be. Thank you to Scott and Neal for joining me. Scott can be found on Twitter at OKSoda, OK and the word soda. Neal can be found at Enron10, Nron, the number 10. I can be found at Kulavia, at Culafia. And that's our show. Merry Christmas, everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.